I've been thinking about the difference between season 4 True Detective and first season of True Detective.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I really liked that last season. I really did. So what I'm about to say, don't take it as like a knock on season 4. I think what made season 1 so special was how they played with time.
Yeah, the spanning of how long. Yeah, the spanning of time was interesting.
Yeah, because it's like from the early 90s up into like 2014 present time of when it was released, and how it's like you as an audience member are solving multiple mysteries and like things, because is Rust Cole the actual killer? Is this the thing? Is this the thing? And it's just a different type of like convoluted storyline altogether.
And unraveling.
Yeah. And it's just like, I think season 1 True Detective is just a very special thing it was like lightning in a bottle.
Yeah, I mean, but that's safe to say on anything that kind of even American Horror Story.
Yeah.
Look at the first season and just look at people going into the first season and experiencing that for the first time, and then the seasons after.
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like American Horror Story, Ryan Murphy did a good job of keeping at least like 5 seasons like solid. Even like they're in my. So I think since I watched all of them like in a row, they all like the first 4 to 5 seem very equal level to me.
Well, yes, but that's also that's a polarized. I guess what I'm getting at too is don't focus on the American Horror Story. I just mean like any long going series like that does something kind of
anthology series like that.
Anything that's kind of especially anthology series wise, and that does something kind of new, And like with the thing about the first American Horror Story. Is what was new about it. The anthology idea is not new, but it took a lot of all the horror stuff.
Yeah.
Tropes and character. It took all of it and it threw it into a blender and went, here's the cake, eat it. Now, it was that. It was lightning in a bottle. And kind of American Horror, True Detective was the same thing.
It was a unique
take on
fresh,
a very tried, true formula of the cop trying to catch the bad guy.
Yeah.
So it's never gonna really, I mean, but the new season was cool.
It was cool. It was good.
Jodie Foster, man.
Jodie Foster's great.
Damn.
Great fucking twist at the end.
She's a dick in that.
She's a fucking great. Ask the question.
She's so good.
Ask the question. Wrong question.
Oh, God. She's an infuriating woman.
All right, let's do this.
This is Tommy.
This is Jacob.
This is Tommy and Jacob's Mixtape. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. This is TJ's Mixtape. I'm Tommy. That's Jacob. We are a movie review podcast. We talk about movies. When they came out, who made them, how they were made, who's in them, and then kind of give it a little walk through themes, plots, and then end it on a rating. A rating out of 5 carrots. Arbitrary at the end, but it's a nice way to put a little stop to the episode. And today we are doing...
Ain't that a stinker?
This block that I don't even know if we have a name for 2020 movies we missed that we wanted to watch.
Yeah. Movies the last 4 years that we missed. So we're doing it like each year, though. So.
Yeah, so last week, if you didn't join us, we did Licorice Pizza from 2021, and now we're in 2022 with White Noise.
Yes, but first we have something else to do.
Oh, yeah, the Connections game. So also, if you've been listening, you know. If you don't, we take 2 actors and connect them via films they've been in co-stars.
Through co-stars.
There
you go.
So, who did we do again?
We had last week, we ended with Mila Kunis to Helena Bonham Carter.
Yes, and I had the 3 connection.
And I have the 2.
Okay.
So, I had Mila Kunis in Forgetting Sarah Marshall with Jonah Hill.
Mm-hmm.
Jonah Hill is in This Is the End with Rihanna, who is in Ocean's 8 with Helena Bonham Carter. So, Jonah Hill and Rihanna, the 2 connections. And you had 3, you said.
Mila Kunis to Ted with Marky Mark, who is in The Italian Job with Ed Norton. Ed Norton's in Fight Club, and Helena is in Fight Club.
Yeesh.
Yeesh.
What did you get? Tell us. Get in the comments.
And at the end of this episode, we will do 2 more people and start the game over.
Yeesh.
But Going into this episode 228 of White Noise.
White Noise! Not the 2005
Michael Keaton
horror
movie,
thriller.
which I would like to rewatch again. I really like that era of horror movies.
Stir of Echoes.
Dead Silence. Dead Silent? Dead Silence.
Hollow Man.
Darkness Falls.
Another Kevin Bacon film that I can't think of.
Jeepers Creepers.
Jeepers Creepers, yeah, there you go.
They're really just not good.
It's really interesting is like
creature feature.
You are literally like a couple years separated from my favorite like era of like the late 90s slashers.
Yeah. No, it's just it's the age of when you're coming into that.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, man, horror movies are cool. Yeah. But for those of you who don't know, White Noise, a quick little synopsis written by me personally, myself, and I. A couple comes to terms with their mortality and other elements of life in a small town.
But it's funny.
Funny enough, off mic, we're talking about the differences between satire and farce, and this is a satire.
It's 100% a satire.
Hardcore satire, which I did not know going into. We didn't really know jack shit about this movie.
Yeah, I thought it was. I thought it was going to be something completely different. You thought it was going to be something completely different.
We kind of did it on a loosey goosey idea of what the plot was and who was in it, and we're that looks interesting. I'm interested about the cast, and if you're a big movie person, that will sometimes the cast will just sell you. You're like, I'll watch it just to see how these people interact with each other, and this was one of those. And let's start off with, did you like it?
I really liked it. I don't think you liked it.
Not particularly, no. And I have a kind of a concrete reason why, but we'll get into that later.
Okay.
But yeah, so
it's very absurd.
Yes,
it's weird heightened language, but it does it in a way that works for this film. I didn't like it, but objectively, I think it's a very interesting movie. Oh, it's very.
I'm not gonna sit there and say it's a bad movie.
Well, I didn't have good ratings,
and I get why.
Yeah,
it's a very particular little film.
It is. It is.
But yeah, Netflix original. So if you are curious about this or remember sparking a memory on you wanting to watch this, it's on Netflix still.
Yeah, I mean, it had its first release August 31st at the Venice Film Festival. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Did I say film festival or did I say film festival?
You said the Venice Film Festival.
The Venice Film Festival.
And then it's it's wide release on. Oh, he'd be a good
Jason Segel.
No, I was thinking Adam Driver would be a good Dracula, but like a Hotel Transylvania Dracula.
God,
like a funny Dracula.
Whoa.
Because he's like big and imposing, but he's anyways. And then wide release in the U.S. November 25th of 2022.
Yes, and then official had its internet release on December 30th. So I was actually surprised. I kind of forget that streaming services can still do the whole do film festival stuff. It's not made just for their streaming service.
Well, we also, that's fair though, but we also haven't done
They're distributing it though.
We haven't done a strictly streaming movie in a while. I can't even remember the last one we did.
I can't remember either, but
it was a while ago. We have that's when we learned, it's a different details and formats that we need to look at.
Yeah.
I can't remember it.
But since this one had a limit, I mean, it wasn't anywhere. I didn't see it on the box office stuff.
Well, because they're not.
It was Film Festival Unlimited, yeah.
Because it wasn't designed
for that.
Yeah.
How many movies for 2022 for you, though?
40.
Jesus. 27.
Yeah. I was really surprised. At 40. I was like, wow.
Maybe I didn't miss it. Why?
No, it doesn't make sense.
No. Were you thinking pandemic? Shut down?
No, wait a minute. Why did I watch so many movies? I don't know.
You're just doing a lot of sitting. Well,
a lot of sitting on my ass at home.
I will say this. After the pandemic, we all started staying inside a lot more.
It's true.
And stopped going out as much.
It's very true. We just got out of the habit. So yeah, so it could, in a sense, be a repercussion,
a symptom,
a latent repercussion of the vid.
A symptom of, what is that? I'm trying to quote Rocky Horror Picture Show, and I'm doing it horribly.
All right.
Anyway, well, this story of White Noise is based on a book
called White Noise.
Imagine that. Written by Don DeLillo.
Great name.
He
DeLillo.
is a modern, postmodern author. So a lot of his stuff is like in this realm. I looked at a couple of passages. Chuck Palahniuk-ish, I could see. I mean, Chuck Palahniuk is obviously a little bit more of our modern time, 90s through early 2000s.
It's funny that you say that because I did a big. Oh, these are a bunch of tabs open. I don't need. I did a whole read through of a cliff notes of the book. Did you do that?
Oh, like of the plot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny you say the Chuck Palahniuk thing because remember in the movie and I was like, oh, we already saw the garbage disposal thing. Mm-hmm. The whole book is written as out of sequence of events.
Oh, interesting.
Kind of like, God, what was that? What was it? Chuck Palahniuk did that. Monster Madness. What was that book? He did
Invisible Monsters?
No, it was not that one. He did one like that too, where the whole book is completely all the chapters are out of order. And that's how he told the story. And then they re-released it to be in order. And people were like, it wasn't as good. It was better. But so you making the Chuck Palahniuk thing is interesting because this is the style that this was written.
I mean, they're of the same school of thought, you know.
But yes, an American novelist, storyteller, writer, playwright, screenwriter, everything.
One movie that I saw people might
the Robert Pattinson one?
Cosmopolis. Cosmopolis.
That also has...
It's David Cronenberg?
Yeah, and that also has terrible ratings.
Yeah.
But it's as if Bruce Wayne didn't become Batman.
As if Bruce Wayne didn't become Batman.
You read the synopsis, right?
I didn't, actually.
28-year-old billionaire struggles with his company crumbling around him.
Oh, no.
And it's like, I guess from what just a quick little look into it, it all takes place from the limo, really.
Oh, jeez.
Like him driving around in his limo going to different locations.
This is Cronenberg as well? Director. That's what I saw. I thought I saw that. Now I'm second guessing myself because that doesn't sound like a Cronenberg.
I mean, it is Robert Pattinson.
It is Robert Pattinson. That sexy motherfucker.
Yeah, it's him before it became. Here it is. I just went through the. It's Cronenberg.
Crazy.
Yeah, and that has a 5.1.
Well, let's get into our writer-director who adapted this. Because he's somebody that I really like most of the stuff that he's done that I have seen of his. And I want to see more.
I've only seen one other of his.
Is it Barbie? Do you consider that?
No.
Okay.
I was thinking director.
Just director? Okay. So yeah, he's more writer-director. He generally directs what he writes, but he's also written for people as well. But the one that I have seen is that's 100% him is The Squid and the Whale.
I wanted to watch that. I wanted to watch Marriage Story, but I can never just get myself to commit.
That's gonna be a Dorothy.
It's like that and Revolutionary Road. I really want to watch those because those are just fucking raw people. Yeah. But
I hate you.
Yeah, but that I don't want. I don't want it though. And then the Meyerowitz story.
Meyerowitz.
The Meyerowitz stories.
I haven't seen that.
Great. I think you'd really like it. And again, it kind of goes into.
Is that also Ben Stiller?
Yes.
Okay. Because I've seen bits of Greenberg, which he wrote and directed.
Going kind of back to when we were talking about Licorice Pizza, that's another one. But that one didn't get the acclaim. But I think just from a sitting there and writing dialogue point, it's a really good one to just watch people interacting.
I will say, Noah Baumbach. What?
I had a hangnail and I didn't want it. Don't want that noise.
Why are you just doing it? Doing it now. Do it in here. Noah Baumbach.
I did it. I went over here and did it.
Noah Baumbach. He has a really good sense of dialogue.
Yeah.
Of people. Because he's co-wrote stuff with. Well, I mean, he did with Greta Gerwig and on Barbie. He's the co-writer of that. But he's also co-wrote a handful of things with Wes Anderson.
Yeah, Life Aquatic and Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Fantastic Mr. Fox. Yep.
Which I love that movie. Mm-hmm. That movie is.
Have you seen Life Aquatic?
Yes, not enough to tell you.
You don't really remember it.
No, because he's not my thing.
Wes
really.
Anderson.
Yeah,
I think what would sell you on that one if you were to get through it would be all of the cast of characters.
Because that's like Bill Murray, Willem Dafoe,
Owen Wilson.
Willem
Dafoe, you just said that.
He's in it twice.
Jeff Goldblum.
He's so good.
Jeff Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum's in it?
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. Like, it's weird. Like, when we're talking about Life Aquatic, my brain automatically made a connection to Sea Lab
2021. We've had this conversation before.
Like, that's just what I see.
And I get that in
I
a
just
weird
see this
way.
flash of it.
Well, the whole thing is one final thought on this. Life Aquatic, it's kind of a retelling of Moby Dick.
Okay. I don't know. There's something about Wes Anderson I really appreciate and hate simultaneously.
Is it like the hit or miss type thing for you?
Kind of.
Is it the flat cinematography?
It's the insists upon itself thing. I know. You know, like I know that it's like now it's the scene in Blast from the Past when he finally sees baseball, like it insists itself thing to me. Mm-hmm. It just now makes so much sense. Like I know it's a joke, but I'm like, you can make it work. You can make it make sense, and I see it now. But yeah, there's just something about Wes Anderson that I don't get. I just don't. But then I love Fantastic Mr. Fox, but I think that his vision and his world works really well
for animation.
Talking animal.
Did
animation.
you like Isle of the Dogs?
Yes, I liked Isle of the Dogs too. But again, that's a lot of just all of that on an animated canvas really clicks.
I wonder with Life Aquatic, because it is so larger than life, it feels like a live action animation.
I mean, I'd be down to try, but I've tried a couple and just been like,
I'll make you one. I'll just put it on. Anywho. Who's starring in this? That was Noah Baumbach, by the way, writer director. Noah Baumbach. I like his name too.
Yeah, it's a great name. Noah Baumbach. Noah Baumbach. Noah Baumbach. I only wrote down 3 people because I felt like that was kind of the lead.
I really only wrote down our 2 leads and then a quick shout out of other people.
Okay. So our 2 leads are Adam Driver and Greta Gerwig.
Well, we've done Adam Driver before.
Yeah, we have.
Remember that month
More.
where we did the sequel trilogy?
I try not to. Yeah, episode 32 through 34, we decided to do all 3 of the sequel trilogy of Star Wars.
It needed to be done.
Why?
Because it was May the 4th. It was
right,
Star Wars month.
Right.
We were doing a Star Wars month.
That was terrible.
It was also, we realized afterwards, like, we're never doing this again. But, so we needed to do it to learn. And 2, the sequel trilogies we needed to look at objectively and see like how bad
the second one is the best one.
Objectively, yeah.
Yes.
Well, yeah, like thematically, Star Wars fans, who gives a fuck? That movie is actually
the J.J. Abrams one is actually pretty decent.
No, that wasn't the J.J. Abrams one.
Yeah, the second one was.
No. He did the first and the third. He did Force Awakens and Return.
Then who did the second one?
Rian Johnson.
Yeah. Okay, Rian Johnson.
Yeah, it is.
You sure?
Yes, 100%.
Oh.
I know that entire history of it all, how it happened. Because the third one was supposed to be JJ. It was supposed to be the guy that did Jurassic Park.
Who did Jurassic Park?
I forget his name.
Wait, Jurassic Park or Jurassic World?
Jurassic World. Sorry.
Jurassic World. I was like, wait a minute. No. Okay.
I forget his name.
Okay.
But I have that original script, Duel of the Fates, still.
Okay,
so Adam Driver, was in sequel trilogy, Marriage Story. He's worked a lot with Noah Baumbach, actually. He was in Girls, a movie that I saw with Daniel Radcliffe called What If. He's memeable. He's got a lot of memes. If you look up Adam Driver memes, you'll get a couple more soup. Or no, good soup. More. There's another one with him like walking around with nachos. That's from What If.
Well, and then he was also in Last Duel, which I just thought was funny because we were talking about.
That's Matt Damon, right?
Dude, yeah, it's that period drama.
Yeah.
Thing.
He's an ex-Marine.
He is?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. He was hosted SNL a long time ago, and he has this like funny time where like he's doing his monologue and he just kind of like starts wandering off camera and then like comes back and just like is looking, just gets really close to the camera and is all like and then he's like, I'm just killing time because there's a skit at the end of this episode that I really don't want to do. So if I stay up here long enough, they'll cut it.
Oh yeah, I know that one. I was just looking at the Star Wars things because now I realize I don't know which one is which.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like Last Jedi, Rise of Skywalker. I have no like the first 6. I'm like, yeah, totally. You know, 1,
Yeah.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This one, I'm like,
Force Awakens, Last Jedi, and the Rise of Skywalker.
yeah, okay. Is that the order?
Yeah.
I have no fucking idea. Yeah. Okay. That's how little I give a shit. Star Wars has just been beaten out of me.
Yeah.
I don't care anymore. Again, good on you. You still enjoy it. That's great. I don't care. I just don't give a shit.
Yeah. Skeleton Crew was fun.
It was fun. Didn't give a shit. It
It was fun though.
was fun.
All right, so
It was
we
a
got
fun shit to not give.
we got our that was Adam Driver, and we got our leading lady Greta Gerwig.
Greta Gerwig.
Her hair was great in this.
Yeah, they even comment on it.
I know.
Greta Gerwig was the director of Barbie. And then I just wrote down she was in Isle of Dogs, Mistress America,
She's in Greenberg.
Frances Ha.
Yeah, that's where they met, right?
Mhm.
Because I
think so.
Greta Gerwig, yeah, I think it says something. Well, Greta Gerwig and Noah Baumbach, they met. I think it was Frances Ha, might have been something a little bit earlier, but they met. They kind of consider themselves like artistic, like partners, life mates type thing. And he's married with to Jennifer Jason Leigh, and I don't know if Greta Gerwig is married or anything, but it's kind of like it's a platonic artistic friendship that they've had to talk about on interviews.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But Greta Gerwig, I remember seeing her early in this Duplass Brothers movie called Baghead that I don't remember, but I know I watched it. She's also minor character, No Strings Attached.
They got married in 2023.
Noah Baumbach and her?
And Greta.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Well, fuck me.
Yeah. So
On all the thing I just said right there.
disregard everything you just said. Yeah, no, the Jennifer Jason Leigh, they divorced in 2013.
Oh.
And then Greta and him.
Where the fuck was I reading that then?
He got together with her in 2023.
Yeah, okay.
So
Moving on.
awkward.
Don Cheadle's in this movie.
Don Cheadle. Yep.
Don Cheadle. And then really quick, I got two of the kids because they look like they're going to have like careers.
Oh, he was in a show called Agent Elvis the next year, which I just thought was funny.
That is funny. That is really funny.
Yeah.
And he dresses up as an Elvis impersonator in one of the Ocean's movies, I want to say.
That sounds right. I don't know. And then his first, I just liked his first three known for are Crash, Traffic, Trader.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was like, Trader was also in that bag my mom gave me.
Oh, okay.
Which I also thought was
interesting.
Weird. Yeah, weird.
I got one of the kids, the oldest daughter, Rafi Cassidy, who's done some voiceover stuff. And then the oldest son, Sam Nivola, who is in White Lotus on HBO. So, like, you know, they're young kids rising up to doing stuff.
Hmm.
And, Jesus, you were really close to your mic right there. It startled me. And then Andre 3000 has, like, a minor role in it, which I thought was odd. Just to see him. I wonder if he's friends with one of them.
Yeah.
And it's like, why is he doing this weird little bit role?
Yeah, he's one of those guys. I don't know.
It always makes me think of that Key and Peele skit with them. I don't know where they're making fun of him.
Oh, I'm trying to see, actually. I meant to click on it. I just want to know if there's... Did you look at his list of films?
Andres?
Yeah.
No, but I know he's done a lot of stuff.
Oh, yeah, he's in Revolver. He's in Four Brothers.
Yeah.
He's in Be Cool. Yeah, he's actually got quite a few things that you just kind of forget. You're like, oh, yeah, he is in that. Mm-hmm. Revolver. God, I haven't thought about that movie in forever. Who did that? Guy Ritchie, right. Anyways.
You ready for reviews?
Yeah.
All right. So this has got middle-low reviews, or scores is what I saw. Because on IMDb, it's got a 5.7. I was a little surprised, actually. I thought critically it might be higher. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, but on the Metacritic side, it is.
Fair. Because on Rotten Tomatoes, it's got a 64% tomato meter and then a 33% popcorn. So audiences, not so much.
Yeah, on Metacritic, it has a 66, which comes to generally favorable. Just barely there.
Yeah.
With positive of 28, mixed of 14, negative of 3.
Okay.
For the positive, I went with Cinevu by John Bleedsdale, who gave it 100. This could be seen as a smug, empty exercise and satirical excursion. And as a smug, empty exercise and satirical excursion.
What? Say that again, please.
I can't say it.
Start spelling it.
Excoriation. I looked it up last night and now I'm totally blanking it.
I wish I could look at your screen and try to help you. What does it mean?
A mental illness related to obsessive compulsive disorder. It is characterized by repeat picking at one's own skin, which results in areas swollen or broken skin, cause significant.
Okay.
Excoriation. There you go.
Okay.
Excoriation. This could be seen as a smug, empty exercise in satirical excoriation, as a smug, empty exercise in satirical excoriation. God, that's hard to say. It'd be one of the best. But there is a genuine heart to the film, as well as intellect. Cheadle, Gerwig, and Driver are superb, while Sam and Raffi give their smart mouth role reversal kids an impossible likability.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Satirical excoriation.
All right. Repeat after me. Sally sold seashells at the seashore.
Satirical excoriation. I'm not adding it to. I got to get this down.
No, but this is going to help you.
Well, moving on.
Sally sold seashells at the seashore.
I wrote a note that says "See Telegraph." So for Telegraph, the one of the funnies, the Telegraph, who gave an 80 by Robbie Collin for this usually understated filmmaker. It's a madcap outliner and often resembles an early Steven Spielberg film having a nervous breakdown.
Can you say the first part of that again?
For this usually understated filmmaker.
Okay. Yeah.
So talking about
Noah Baumbach.
Noah's.
Yeah, that's actually really interesting.
Yeah, madcap outliner and often resembles an early Steven Spielberg film having a nervous breakdown, which I thought I was like, yeah, actually, that's a weird observation, but yeah,
that's a great connection.
Yeah, it really does it. Gotta go down to the 60s. Get into the mix. 60s by Robert Abel at the Rap. Noah's textual, visual, sonic approach is stylish enough that even when white noise is just churning along, there's always a keen delight to absorb or killer observation to take in, if not an emotion to latch onto.
That one I had a hard time just following.
Do it again?
Nah. Because it just sounded like, hey, it's okay type thing, you know?
Well, yeah, saying that, with the music, the visual, everything about it on a surface level is great, and it's enough to entertain you while watching it, but there may not be emotion behind it.
Yeah.
You may not make you feel anything, but at least it's interesting to watch.
Which I actually kind of feel like that's just kind of a modernist thing. Or postmodern thing, I guess.
What do you mean? Like that style of filmmaking?
Yeah, because it's like, look at everything, but there's like a detachment to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not meant to make you feel sad or happy. It's meant to make you think.
Just meant, yeah. Or even at the end of the day, just meant to be. It's just, it is how it is. It is what it is. So the negative by Odie Henderson, who gave it a 38 at the Boston Globe. Unfortunately, a screenwriter's fealty to the source material is often the kiss of death. Some things are just not transferable from a reader's mind to a more objective and visual medium like film.
I like that review, actually, because that was a thing that I thought about. Do you have any others, or is this a good transition point? Mm-hmm. Okay. A big thing is like this book came out in 1985, and the story is taking place around 1985. I felt like I was building up to and something else of 1985. So it's definitely a reflection, like the story, there's elements of this that really kind of make me think of American Psycho not in the Patrick Bateman craziness, but in the way that language is used in this very like over the top exaggerated way, you know, like them describing their like business cards and American
Yeah,
Psycho,
and
you know?
and the day in day out of the yuppie
Yes.
millionaire guy.
So like the postmodern absurdist of this is in its DNA, and that's a hard thing to translate into film, because thinking about what this dialogue is and this language is, if it's directly taken from the source material, and even like reading the plot outline of the source material, Noah Baumbach really did like followed it really, really accurately, taking out a few things, changed the ending in a way to make it so it's equal between Jack and Baba, and not just a story about Jack, which I appreciate as well. So just taking this postmodern like book from 1985 and making it find a way to feel relevant in 2022. And I feel like he was successful in that, but it's also, like you said, this is kind of like, this is not a movie or story for everyone. The existential dread in it that is really kind of like lightheartedly mocked and satirized.
Well, that's where that was going to be my rebuttal to that, is that I think anyone can tap into that existential dread, whether you call it or realize that's what it is. But it kind of mocks it in a really heavy way, which I could see being a really big turn off for people.
And that's the thing is like
my fear of death is your joke, you know.
But that's the thing is like also kind of thinking about in this time in the 80s at the peak of this like an American intellectualism, you know, like America is like we got no problems in the 80s really, you know, in a suburban middle upper class white suburbia, you know. And that's one of the things is the what did I call it's novelty intellectualism, you know, is like it's making fun of this thing of like, oh, to be smart, to be intelligent is like this novel thing, and it's really leaning in and making fun of that. And that's kind of like where the postmodern, I guess, more Bret Easton Ellis feel comes, you know, the American Psycho feel of that. But that's hard to translate into film from the page of a book, because the way that it's been interpreted, it's kind of like trying to interpret Catcher in the Rye into the
kind of like we were talking about last week or
last week. Yeah. It's because it's like postmodern literature is so interpretive by the reader. Like, you can have like specific ways of like how the character, like this is who the character is, but then like specific ways of like how their dialogue should be said. It's very like Noah Baumbach had to choose a way. I'm like, this is how it's going to be presented. And I think he was successful with it in a really good way of what maybe the source material was, because it feels honest to the material.
Well, I think so. This kind of is a twofold kind of. So I'm just gonna. I think that the problem I had with this movie is it needs to be watched a couple times, I think, to really chew and digest on it.
I would agree with that.
Which I think is a terrible idea. I think it's great if you can do that. Like, just last night I got it in my head and I haven't thought of anything else. So Fight Club is a great example. You can watch it once, you get it, it's cool. You go back and watch it and you'll catch everything. You'll catch more things about, you know, the way he's interacting and the twist. And I feel
like that's a sign of a good movie, though. Like,
yeah. But this, I think a movie that you kind of have to go back.
I see what you're saying.
To do, because that's the thing, though, and that's where I think the translation gets lost, especially into a medium of like film. You're reading this. Okay, we're reading this book, White Noise, right? It's right before bed. You're reading a chapter. All right, time to turn in. You have all that time to digest and really churn in your head what you took in because of the format of the book. A film, you're sitting there and you're going along at the pacing that they have made for you.
Yeah.
So you're going to miss things. And so I think that's kind of where the translation gets lost. And it's because even like, you know, read something about it the last night, and I was just really thinking about them as teachers is really funny, but we don't get they're teachers, but they're not really teaching. They're just literally regurgitating the thing that they're experts on. Mm-hmm. You have Jack, Adam Driver's character, who's an expert on Hitler.
Yeah.
And then you have Don Cheadle's Murray character, who wants to get to the same level of expertise about Elvis. Mm-hmm. And you're like,
their parallel of Elvis.
That was
and
amazing.
Hitler,
that was a great scene.
That was not only such a great scene, but kind of like comparing this idea of the person on stage and the control of the crowd.
Yeah.
And like kind of like making Hitler and Elvis kind of like this weird equal.
Well, they are.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, if you're talking about from a sociology, like a societal standpoint,
to draw the masses to So
a youth in 1940s Germany, mm-hmm. and then a youth in America in 1960s with, it's like, it's
1950s,
yeah, 1950. It's the same coin, just different sides. It really is
different motivation and goal for the person.
Yeah, but if you're to boil it down to like just like if you're to boil it down to like a really just gut feeling, it's like you start evaporating things, start taking things away, you start pulling off the layers, and you're like, oh, they're kind of getting really close to each other.
Well, and like this leads into a really big theme of this movie is the power of suggestion.
But I also like just on that scene as well, just the way it's shot. It's just a great shot. And the turning, and then, he has this whole thing, and he's like, I'm going to whisper the terrible thing. And then he does the whole death thing. And then they all as a crowd get up and do exactly what he was just talking about. Mm-hmm. It was great. I was like, wow, that's a really cool scene. But like, just even that, the whole making the satire on the educational system, it's just that. Yeah. It's like they are, and it's not, they're just.
It's not even really a satire on the educational system. It's more of a satire on them as educators.
Yeah, well, yeah. It's like them as educators, because even when you first meet Murray, Don Cheadle's character, he's doing this really long monologue about the American film car crash, mm-hmm. and the symbolism behind it, and
it's a wild monologue.
Yeah, like, and it's like on one hand you can go with it, or on the other hand you can be like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Well, and that's a big thing is that, and it's really bringing up is how, and that's where the novelty intellectualism comes in, is that these teachers, it's commenting on what the education system at this point, probably maybe 1985, what DeLillo was feeling, DeLillo, sorry, is that educators have become more about their time to show how smart they are and not educate.
Yeah.
And that's really what Jack is in this.
Well, because even then, anytime he's getting praise, it's not for being a great teacher. It's for being the experts.
Yeah.
He's the expert on Hitler. Mm-hmm. And that's the praise he's getting. You're like, that's not what he should be, the praise should be getting from interactions with students and making them strive to greater heights. And
regardless of all this praise, he still has this fear of his death.
Yeah.
This inevitability of death that
well, and that was a thing apparently, because he has that great line about how all plots lead to demise.
Yeah.
That whole thing, and that's why Don wrote it in that way, is because, so in the book, Jack is our narrator.
Yes.
And the reason that we're getting this cut in time thing is that way it pushes the plot farther away. The final act of the plot, which is death, he keeps at an arm's length by changing the time of which we're interacting.
And then the avoidance, or the avoidance of death at the end. Was that, how would you call that? Go over conquering death. It's not conquering death.
It's not conquering death. The avoidance.
Yeah, that's
I guess
missing death's missed opportunity.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I'm not.
Even though it's such a minor, he's just shot in the hand and she's just shot in the leg, and the man who's been shot in the chest
twice, I think.
Yeah, Why would you give him a loaded gun?
Well, obviously, I thought again, we happened to do 2 movies back to back that were really great on dialogue. I definitely think Licorice Pizza was just better. But the thing is, because
it felt more natural.
Well, yeah, this had this absurdist thing, and maybe it's just like misophonia or whatever. But their whole constant talking over each other, overlapping thing, I really hated. I got what it was doing. I understood
The chaos of everything.
I had a hard time in those moments.
But did you find it because there was moments like that when it was just the singular talking, then you were hyper focused on that singular?
No.
You did get that?
No.
Oh, okay.
Not really.
Because generally that's what they do is like this is a big playwright thing, especially it's a big tool from the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Like playwrights used to do this. Have these scenes of cacophony of just like noise and people talking over each other, and then all of a sudden it's just one person, and because of everything that was happening, you find yourself like, oh fuck, I'm now just focused on this one person. What?
The Key and Peele sketch.
Which one?
The Les Mis. Remember, they're all singing at the same time, and he's like, yeah, remember that?
I don't remember.
It's like, it's kind of Les Mis, but it's like a musical, and they're all starting to sing, and they're all doing their thing, and he's trying to talk, sing talk.
Yeah.
But his whole thing is he's just like, stop talking at the same time. You don't remember this one?
I don't remember that one at all. I'm pretty sure if I saw it, yeah.
No, it just, I don't know. It just stresses me out, but that's just, that's kind of, I get, like I said, I get it. I get what it's doing, but doesn't mean I like it.
Yeah.
It's like one of my biggest pet peeves is someone talking over you or someone else.
That I do all the time.
I want to get violent. Just flip the table over.
It's like all I do to you sometimes.
I just learned to just shut up. I just stopped talking. It's pretty fun to do because it gets really awkward.
Yeah.
I did it to someone we know, and you know who I'm talking about. Mm. They did it to me, and I just stopped talking. Just went dead quiet.
Oh, yeah. If someone starts doing, I'm like, okay, like, you don't want to talk about this. Then is what I take it as.
And then they just stared at me.
Oh, really?
Like I was like, I don't know. I just got really petty with it. It felt good.
I mean, we all do it though.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
It's just some do it worse than others.
Very much so. Yeah. So, where were we at with this movie?
I mean, I was gonna go back into the just like I really just think. Well, because the rights to this were bought originally from HBO in 1998, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, this had kind of like a bit of a bump up and down.
Yeah, and I just think, someone was sitting there and just was like, when the apostrophe hit, hook. Like when the light bulb finally went off, that they were going to make this, this was going to come to them, the adaptation. And I just don't think it's there 100%. I don't think that this is something, because of the fact that this is something you really, I think, need to take your pace to fully absorb the story. And that alone in a film base doesn't really work because you have to go by the pace that they are giving you. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And this is something that you really need to absorb. And kind of jumping what you're saying is like American Psycho.
Yeah.
The book and the movie are very, very different,
yes.
But it's kind of like Interview with the Vampire. The book and movie are very, very different, and I think they both do very well in their own way.
Yeah.
I've read the book and I've watched the movie. They're so different that it's kind of like what we were talking about with the video game thing. It's kind of just the name on the title.
Oh, yeah.
To me, I mean, I'm sure I could get into a debate. Just for the quickness of this conversation, they're so different in a lot of ways that I could even say they're completely different stories. They're not, but whatever. I'm not trying to debate that. My point is like they took that and they adapted it and they changed it into a movie, and it works very well. This I just don't think can, because you're talking about existential dread. You're talking about mortality. You're talking about love. You're talking about the time left just to get the things done you want to get done. And that is just something that someone on a basic psychological level needs to do at their own pace. You cannot rush the passing of existential dread.
No.
You need to get over that your own way and own time. And so I just think that because this movie's like, what, 2 hours and 20 minutes?
Like, 2:15 or something.
It's just, it's not really enough time to chew on it.
No, yeah, and I see what you're saying. You're right with it, but it's also, like, I mean, would you rather see this be drawn out into like a 4-episode short series type thing?
I don't think put it into film.
You just don't think it should be?
No, I just think that there are things that just work better
as books.
Yeah, and I think this might be one of them. And again, I'm saying that, and I'm not trying to be a dick and be like, this is a bad movie. I don't think it's a bad movie. Mm-hmm. I just think the subject matter is just not really suited for it.
Well, I mean, that's fair because I mean, you're taking it as like how we as an audience are going to digest this subject matter. And this is more of watching through the span of a year, a man coming to terms with this subject matter.
I see your point, but at the end of the day, the audience is the important.
Yeah.
Because they are the ones to...
But like, so for a book, a little bit easier because you can do it at your own pace.
Yeah. I see. Okay, yeah. I got derailed. Yeah.
The movie, it's just that I feel like because of how it's separated, and again in the book, how it's 3 separate
chapters.
Parts.
Yeah, parts. Yeah.
Which are named Waves and Radiation,
the Airborne Toxic Event, and
Dialorama. And I feel like I get your I guess maybe since I don't have that fear of, or that I have that existential dread, but I don't know how, like, this movie didn't make me go like, oh man, what about my existential dread at all? Because I was more like wondering, like, I was more actually kind of like judging Jack this entire time, being like, who the fuck cares about your existential dread, you fucking pompous, weird, intellectual yuppie?
It didn't make me feel that way either. But I mean, I guess if you were going to make it into, especially now that you mentioned the 3 chapters, the 3 parts that we have, TV miniseries would probably work better for this, to really sit there and to live. Cause that's the thing though. I felt like we never got to get settled with Jack or Babette.
Okay.
We never got to sit with them in it. There we go. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
I think the closest thing we got was their scene of her admitting what she had done.
Yeah, but that's a great example of a scene we never really, and that's kind of maybe the point, is the pacing is quick, and that's but we never really got to sit with them in a moment of, like, even with like a perfect example of that, how they didn't really do it is that scene when the plume, they're talking about the plume, and is it going to hit us and all of that, and it's this very like boom boom back and forth scene. But it's like you have Jack sitting there and he's very calm and trying to be very level-headed about it and not freak out his family. Even if he is freaking out, we never really see it. And that's kind of what I'm saying. We never get a minute to just sit with them in this moment. That
was an interesting moment. I kind of want to stick to that moment for a second at the dinner table when everyone's kind of like freaking out. And it kind of like shows this sense of like faux intellectuality that he has. It's like, yeah, he might be this expert on Hitler, and he might have this, like, this whole thing going for him, but everything else, he doesn't seem to be very quick and actually very intelligent about.
Well, but my counter to that, though, is that's kind of goes back into my point of we don't get to sit there long enough to know that. Because it could be that, or it could be that he's trying to be the level-headed, like,
he's just trying to ignore that the death could happen because that's his fear of it.
Yeah.
And then when he gets sick, he is forced to look at his mortality.
Yeah, but
when he then is by being there's the 3 stories of his arc, just kind of like 3 beats just kind of came together.
Yeah.
Because there's the denial, the faced with it, the acceptance, and with the acceptance, what are you going to do about it? Man becomes killer to protect his own self.
Yeah. Well, then also, what Murray said, man kills to not be afraid of death, basically.
Yeah.
He takes the power into his own hands by killing someone. He now has created death as opposed to run from death. He has been the pursuer.
So there's the power, there's the denial of it, the confrontation of it.
And the acceptance of it.
Not even but the acceptance is the right one.
Like,
but the act of the acceptance is the taking the power away from it.
Yeah, and
or the attempt of taking the power,
and using
even
that
though
power.
he does take the power away from it in a way.
Mm-hmm. And I just think that,
and that's also
we just need a beat.
Yeah,
We need a beat more with certain moments.
Yeah, this is kind of like it's like a drum. It just keeps going.
Yeah.
I like those. Like the only breath we get is when you get all of Bobette's story and like how she's been kind of going through the same thing, only behind the doors with the guy taking advantage of her. Which that really
quietly but by herself kind of situation. Mm-hmm. Well, and I just kind of want to put out there too, I have not read this book, and I'm going to add this to...
I want to, actually.
I want to add this to my read list because I'm very interested, because now something I did realize, but I just kind of want to get my thoughts out there, is not reading the book. I can't really speak on the pacing of it because of the fact I haven't read it. But I will say that the subject matter and the way a book works, you can go back and digest it at your pace.
Yeah.
Even if the book is fast paced, you can still sit there and go, you know what? I feel like I didn't really... You're not going to do that. I mean, you can do that with a movie, and you could rewind every 10 minutes to rewatch the scene over and over again. You're not gonna
watch it at like a 10 slow speed.
You know, you can, but it's not.
Coach.
But that's not the way it's designed. A book is also designed to, you know what? I mean, how many times have you found yourself reading the same paragraph over and over again because you're just not getting it?
I will sometimes reread the same paragraph for almost 20 minutes because it's not like that I'm not getting it. It's I'm realizing I'm not reading it. I'm actually just following.
What I was saying though is like that. You can sit there and read the same paragraph. I'm not getting it.
Yeah.
Like I'm hearing the words in my head, but they're not.
Have you ever tried to read any James Joyce?
No.
Oh man.
The last one I did try to read. This is just a weird. I tried to read Train Spotting, and no fucking way.
It's written in the dialect, isn't it?
Oh God, yes, yeah. Scottish. Sounds like a typewriter getting kicked down some stairs.
Jesus,
it's brutal. You're like, this is English? It's crazy how different the dialect is. I tried reading. I got like through maybe the first chapter and went, I'm not doing this. Like, I'm not going to do this. I'm good. Great movie. Hey, there you go.
I mean, obviously, I haven't read the book either. I mean, we didn't even know whether it was a book until we saw the credits, like, based on the book. And it was all right, cool.
That adds a new 30 minutes of homework for
exactly.
reading.
But my research into it was more of like, I mean, obviously, like how the structure... They talked about it, the structure of it, and then also a big thing is that a lot of it it's all Jack's perspective, and they talk about how his diction isn't the best. Like he doesn't have great diction. He doesn't like enunciate very well, but his sentence format is impeccable. So it's like to make up for his lack of diction, he makes sure to speak in perfect words and in perfect sentences. Again, like bringing up this sense of this intellectuality that he needs to show that he has, you know. So,
but that's just an interpretation. I felt like he was intelligent.
Yeah,
but he was just hyper focused on the wrong thing.
Yeah.
No, and that's even not the wrong thing. I mean, a Hitler studies class. But
also, how many times did we see him constantly kind of like lie to his children in a very obvious way?
Well, example, like what?
When he's looking for the Dylar case with his stepdaughter, and she's like, "Why do you?" And he's flat out says like, "I need it now."
No, I think he needed it now.
I don't think because we misinterpreted that, or we had two different interpretations.
Well, yeah, because that's after he had the conversation, and that's like him now. It's after he told his wife that he's gonna die. He's on borrowed time.
But I interpreted in that scene with her that he realized that it was not. It wasn't. It actually didn't help anything. It was like a pseudoscience, placebo.
I took it as that he wanted it now because now he was like, oh, this might be a thing to help with my existential. She took this thing under the guise of it was going to help.
I was still taking it as like he was trying to find it so then he could find him to kill the guy.
No, yeah, I was taking it as he wanted it. It was a moment of weakness where he wanted it for his own existential grief or dread.
And then also the drug, I don't know,
But that goes back to the initial thing I said, is I think this movie needs to have rewatches. And that's not good.
Fair.
I mean, I don't know if not good is the... It's not, for me, is not ideal.
Do you think a book that you need to reread is a bad book?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, and again, I don't like the word bad. I want to strike that from the record, Your Honor. I don't like bad. I just don't think it's ideal for me. Because at least enough to... I don't know. I didn't really think about this before I started talking.
It's a fresh idea then. Let's go.
I'm just trying to... Well, because it's the idea of needing to... Because then I was like, well, what I was going to say is well, then if you should be able to ingest whatever it is once to get your main point across of, what the story, what is the arc, what is the story, what is the point of us doing this. This movie did do that. It did. So that right there scratches my argument. So I'm like, do I even have an argument anymore? What is, I don't know. I lost it. I just don't think that it being like so, and I think also with the idea of the fact that we were kind of jumping in time.
Were we?
Yeah. Remember she talks about, he's looking for actually back to that scene. He's talking about the nylon pills. Where are they? And she said, I put them down the garbage disposal. You don't remember me saying we saw her do that a while ago.
Yeah.
So we don't, and that's why that's kind of, and maybe that's just the key. Maybe I just need to rewatch it at some point.
Well, there is a sense, because they talk about when you are sick with whatever the fuck it is, the sense of deja vu, the things that you see that are,
Well, and that's even, once they said that, I was really looking for them. Mm-hmm. And maybe I was looking too hard, because even the only scene I can, off the top of my head, really point out that you were really clear that there's some kind of time thing is when she says the garbage disposal.
Well, what about the dream he had that was clearly of the man that was at the hotel at the end?
Yeah, but I don't.
And then there was also the hubcap, or not the hubcap.
The hubcap was
Yeah, I know. There was something that came out of the trash can. When he was in the
paper. The news. He was going for the newspaper. The ad. Well, there's the scene with Murray, and he says the deja vu thing.
Yeah.
You could take that as him having deja vu, or you could take that as Murray fucking with them. Murray seems like a wild card. Who knows? Murray's a little odd. But it's like the garbage disposal scene, and it's really, and I guess that's what we do with this review is that it's like the initial either rewatch or first watch is when we do these reviews. So from the format that we do these, I do not like the fact that I probably have to rewatch it and things will really start blaring out more. But that's not fun. Fight Club is fun because you're like, oh shit, the whole time he's not talking to nobody, and then it's like he's punching himself in the face. He's me, myself, and Irene. That's fun. But this just, I don't know. It just seems like this feels like homework, and maybe, you know what I mean?
Well, I feel like that is a lot of Noah Baumbach as well. He's making fun of himself in a way with it because his intellectual stuff.
It's kind of like
you felt that way. Did you feel that way with Barbie a little bit too?
I didn't like Barbie.
Really?
I didn't. I watched it 3 times.
Wow. By
myself with my mom and with Fallon, and I didn't like it. I didn't hate it. It wasn't like goddamn Barbie. Like it wasn't like that. I just didn't. I don't know. I just thought it was fine. Like it was cute. There's like funny moments, like Ken learning about the patriarchy. I thought was fucking.
That was one of the best.
I mean, I can get horses. I was just like I did. There was definitely moments I like laughed and I thought it was cute, and there was like very funny commentary and very pointed commentary in it. But yeah, at the end of it, I was just kind of like, all right, that happened. And then it was one of those. I'm like, am I not getting something? So I watched it again with my mom. Still, just
you were getting it. You just didn't care. I guess
that sounds really dickish, and I don't want to put it that way, but yeah.
You can. That's fine. It's like I get it, but I don't really care.
Yeah,
I get it. But
I feel like the Barbie movie is like a hot point, like a hot spot to be like, I didn't like it, and I'm not taking.
What do you hate, women?
Yeah. Like, I'm not taking any stance on it. I'm like, it's a fucking movie about Barbie coming to life. I don't know. Like, it's just, I don't care. I just don't care.
You gotta. It's about.
But I gave it the college try. I watched it 3 fucking times, being like, and like I don't mean just like having it. I watched it, you know. Like, all right, this is what I'm doing. I'm watching Barbie. And
I mean that's totally fair. I mean, like
I did love Wicked though, which I thought that was weird. I did not expect to like Wicked. Wicked was dope.
I wonder if it's because of the journey. Like, I don't know. Not the journey, but like just maybe the journey, just the character development, maybe. I don't know, because there's a lot of character development in Barbie. I don't know. We're not talking about that or Wicked. Or I mean,
welcome to part 2. We're gonna be talking about Barbie. What are we at?
We're at just an hour. Well, I'm thinking about that because of just Noah Baumbach, because it is kind of an ongoing theme of his, of like existentialism, you know? Mm-hmm. And like, I feel like with Barbie, it was that movie itself, and I know this is big credit Gerwig as well, was the best representation of millennial identity I've ever, like, I could think of. Like, if I wanted to explain millennial identity in like as a film, I would tell them to watch Barbie.
Okay.
And just thinking about that whole existentialism and where this movie fits into it is that the identity of these people, this feels like an older generational, like, identity, like, of the thing, you know, do you see where I'm going? My brain just kind of fell apart there.
Yeah, I see where you're going.
It's like this because it's a story. It's a story from 1985, and it feels like a story from 1985. But the existentialism and the thematic of this novel, I don't keep saying it, novelty intellectualism is still relevant to today. Like the goddamn pretentious pontificating motherfuckers, hipster people that think they're, you know, better than everyone. It's gotten worse over the years, you know.
Because we are better than everyone.
Admit it.
I'm not a hipster. That's the most hipster thing you can say.
Oh God!
Remember that circle you just get stuck into?
Oh, dude, there was a person that I went to Cornish with. You know her. She shaved the side of her head.
Oh yeah.
I remember her and I at a party, and I was calling her out for it, and she's like. And I was like, calling us all hipsters. And she's like, I'm not a hipster. I'm like, you are clearly a hipster. And she's like, well, I'm like, look at what you did to the side of your head. She's like, I did that before it was cool. Oh my God. And I'm
I was going to say, I was like, oh man, is that like too much information? You know, someone that with the corner should save that. Nope. Shave the side of their head. Never mind. No.
I mean, that could be a lot of people.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, never mind.
if she is listening, or she will know exactly what we've talked about the humor of it, because it was very fun. It was funny. But anywho, this movie, yeah, it just, even though it's like still a thing that's very relevant to people be thinking, and it will be, you know, until, I don't know, we solve how to not die. If that's ever possible. Hopefully not. I don't know. That's weird. That's, anywho.
And you, little mister, I don't have existential crisis. I felt like one kicked one on right there. Who wants to live horrible? You can be only one.
All right. I don't think I completed my thought there, but I think my thought died. Death.
I mean, I don't know.
Oh yeah, this is a for it. I feel like the story itself is for a specific time. I think that very much like a quick post, like, because this is like right after the pandemic, right after shutdown. I think it became kind of relevant in a pop at a time, because a lot of people were thinking about this again. You know.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I just something just kind of clicked. Well, even you were saying, in the 80s, the white suburbia, there were no problems, right? Like you mentioned that. And I'm just thinking about it. I was thinking about like the turmoil that we had coming from, we talked about it pretty recently too, just because of the subject matter that we've put in our hands. But from the 40s up into the 70s, the big shifts that were happening. The 80s, like you said, the 80s is when it kind of quieted down for the first time in certain avenues.
There were definitely some shitty things happening, the rise of AIDS, the war on drugs, the forcing of, cocaine,
HIV, AIDS, like all, but well, that's kind of my point is like, started becoming really like compartmentalized. And I'm saying this, and you could think I'm totally an idiot and wrong and correct me, but it's just, I'm just kind of, I'm just going. So that's what it kind of feels like. So when you're talking about the 80s and you're talking about white suburbia and this little bubble in this little small town, everything's fine. They got their house, they got their kids, they finally got married to the right person, quote unquote.
Yeah, their college is called College on the Hill.
College on the Hill. They have a very nice middle class, very nice
upper middle class,
manageable life.
Yeah.
So what do they automatically throw a kink in the chain? Death.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're having a crisis about death because there is no other crisis.
Yeah.
Their money's fine. Their food's fine. There is no other crisis except to look now at the end of the hallway at the door that says death.
And then what does that death lead to? An affair, to letting yourself get sick because you want to deny the fact that you could be sick.
Yeah. So I thought that was an interesting.
No, I'm glad you got that ball rolling. Yeah.
So, but that's kind of, what this movie is too, is, I was talking about the rewatch thing. It's also just a discussion movie because of just but again, I think it'd be more fun to just read the book and then discuss the book because I just think it'd be more.
I think it'd be interesting to read the book and then kind of compare it to. I know the ending of the book, which I think my first initial thought was like.
That's why I got two.
My first initial thought was that the ending of the book kind of seemed a little odd, but then kind of fit as well because it was more about Jack. But then, do you care if I tell you what the ending of the book is?
I already know what the ending is.
Oh, that the kid,
yeah,
like he misses death, miraculously with his ride his bike across tricycle across the interstate. So by watching his youngest kid Wilder avoid death, there is this confrontation of death as well with Jack as well. So it's like still like it's like the avoidance of death through it all. This confrontation of death.
Yeah, I mean, I still can't believe that he named his kid Heinrich. Sorry, I was just thinking about his kids, and I was like, so you're a Hitler expert.
I thought at some point that it was just going to be revealed that they were like Nazi spies or something.
Some crazy thing like that.
Yeah, that's where I was like, where it's getting to. I was like this, because without any knowledge of this film getting into it, you really don't know where it's going to go. And then it has one of the best farcical, satirical scenes I have seen in a long time of them getting out of the, trying to get to their car. And it was like a disaster movie happening.
Oh, yeah. When I was like, this reminds me of Wet Hot American Summer.
Yeah.
It did, because of the camp and the lunacy. Everyone's getting hit by cars and running over hoods. And
literally just put that, make that Independence Day. And them trying to run,
from the aliens.
Exactly. And that's what it is. Like the chaos and everything. And then even Jack having to go back for the bunny.
Yeah,
instead of having to go back for the dog or something.
The Indiana Jones go back for the hat.
Exactly, It's just and it's so well executed.
It is. It really is. And that's the thing, though, is that just as a movie, and that's what's interesting. This movie as a film is designed very well.
Yeah,
With the costumes, even the sets, and it's almost over the top 80s, but not like an 80s party of neon pink.
The supermarket.
Yeah.
The vibrant color.
Vibrant, but it's not neon pink.
It's vibrant, but
dull.
Yeah.
It's weird. Or even all the wallpaper is this beautiful green florally, almost regal over the top.
But it doesn't pop.
Yeah, but it doesn't pop. But everything about it should, but it doesn't. Mm-hmm. It's very interesting.
That was the thing that made it feel very Wes Anderson-y as well.
Well, he definitely took a little from what he learned. But I just had this, like what you were talking about with the secret Nazi. Mm-hmm. sympathizers or whatever. Like I just had a scene of Babette and Jack having an argument, about death or whatever, and then just suddenly Adam Driver, nine, and he just goes on like full German, and you're like, whoa, big scary Nazi. Now there's a movie.
Oh man.
Yeah, but I just think that the aesthetic, and the music was great. Like that whole end.
Danny Elfman.
Yeah, wild. First time I've never guessed it was Danny Elfman.
I know, same.
You
100%.
usually can guess it's him.
Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom. But that's what I really like too, is that Danny Elfman really fell into a route with Tim Burton, just because of Tim Burton's style and how, they just did a lot together. But Danny Elfman, when he's kind of not doing that, he's a really great composer.
Oh yeah.
He's great. He just does a lot of Tim Burton shit. So and like the joke is all of his stuff sounds the same, and it's like, yeah, for Tim Burton.
Well, I mean, Flubber, Men in Black. Like Men in Black soundtrack, that sounds so much like anything that Tim Burton would do as well.
I agree and disagree at the same time. I think if you were to listen to like Batman, right, and then right after listen to Men in Black, they're there, but it's like
I hear a lot more Beetlejuice in Men in Black.
Well, that's the thing. It's Tim Burton, but it's a Danny Elfman Tim Burton movie, but it's sci-fi.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's like it's still really good. You're like, okay. Like,
No.
I think Danny Elfman's a really great composer.
He's one of my favorites of all time.
And Oingo Boingo was like.
What about Little Girls?
I was talking about Dead Man's Party. I did not talk about that song.
I made him uncomfortable.
That's a wild music video.
That's a wild
Do you remember that music
song.
video?
Yeah.
Do you remember the music video?
Yeah. All the doors, he's peeking his head through. Yeah.
White tank top.
All right. So,
Wild. 80s. Wild time.
Right.
Go for the roll. Cocaine.
All right. What do you?
You need to lead it off.
I'm bouncing personally between a 3 and a 3 and a 5. Because I really enjoyed it. But also I like heady movies like this.
What are you calling me, stupid?
No. You don't like satire?
I like farce. Because it's simple. I'd meet you at a 3 and a 5, yeah.
A 3.5?
Yeah.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
All right.
Because it's like I said, I don't think it's a bad movie. Mm-hmm. I just think that, okay, for a movie about existential crises, there are better.
I'm going to go down to a 3, actually, thinking about it. Because
of what I just said? Or because...
Part of that.
Okay.
And also starting to think just like... Because I feel like... Because I really enjoyed it, but I didn't know what the movie was until maybe about halfway to 3/4 through, like its identity. Because I kept feeling like there was going to be some big twist because of this tension that's through it, which I think now knowing like it's fitting for what it is, but it kind of there's just something that gets lost, and it feels like there's something more should be happening, and then when you find out that there is nothing more that's going to happen, it's too late to settle into that.
That's a very good. I like that. It's a little too late to settle into, because the point about like Truman Show. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of existentialism to that, and what he's going through, and what is real and what isn't real. But we're privy to really what's happening. We're really in it with him. Mm-hmm. Like when we know pretty early on, but we know just enough time before Truman to really kind of come to terms with it, and then now watch him come to terms and what he's going to do with it.
Yeah.
And you're right. This doesn't give you enough time to sit there, strap it, and go, okay, what are my thoughts on death? And now what are theirs?
Well, it's like you're not even really thinking about your thoughts on death until you realize that they're like it's like, because even like part 1, waves and radiation, you're not even really thinking about this existential dread. You kind of hear their banter about it in bed.
Well, yeah, but that sounds like couple banter talking about when they die.
Yeah, no, and as you said, a very good example of it was like Gomez and Morticia.
Oh yeah. The void would be endless without you, mon chéri.
Yeah, but it's not like but they're not like over the top with the romance.
They were close.
It's very matter of fact. It's like, no, the void would be like, he's just like, there would be a void in my life.
Well, it's the way, I think it's the candor of the way they're talking about it. Is very.
It's because it is Morticia and Gomez, but it's not over the. It's not over the top romantic. It's a very matter of fact, but with love.
I mean, I really think it's always fun when we do this, and there's that, like the fact that you just said a little too late to strap in is that's the issue with this movie, is like and that also then ties into the pacing of it that I was talking about. It doesn't give you enough time to sit there in a moment with them to really settle in and go, what are we dealing with
the
here?
Themes and the themes that they're talking about, what's actually being talked about is not the pace isn't paced out very well. The narration, the story, the what they go through, the plot points are paced out very nicely.
Yeah.
That keeps you wanting and invested.
But the point they're trying to make, you don't really know about it until you're there suddenly. You're like, and that's what I think. And that's kind of what I was saying to the audience. It's important.
Like a slow build, and then all of a sudden a pop.
The audience is important because what you're trying to do is you're trying to tell the audience the story of Jack and him and Babette going through the existential crisis of mortality. That's what the story you're trying to tell.
Yeah.
But you did not give the audience enough time to have, because the audience needs to have the journey with them.
Because you don't really get that existential thing until really once Jack is exposed to the cloud. And even then it's kind of like, and then like you don't really see his like worry about it until he's at the doctor. And even then that's kind of weird. And yeah, and it's just it's all subtle as well.
Yeah.
But it's subtle and not subtle. I don't know. All right, yeah, I say a 3.
I'd agree with that, because it's like, I really do. I think this is a really good movie, a really good solid movie, a pretty good touch on existential crises. I would love to in X amount of time, and I kind of plan on rewatching just by myself, like in my room, and just kind of like, all right, just kind of digest it again and come back in a few months' time and be like, okay, I watched it again and I think we were right. Yeah. Or no, actually, because like I said, there are movies about existential crisis that I just think are better, and it might be because they are a little less heady.
Yeah.
This might be just a little too heady, and that's why I think it should be a book, like Stranger Than Fiction.
I think the absurdist nature in it, that's a big thing. We didn't really talk much about the absurdity of, I mean, we did. We very briefly brought it up. The absurdity of the dialogue and the characters themselves, which kind of, I don't know, give away. They distract you from what the heaviness of the theme really is until their absurdity is inside of that heaviness.
Well, I have a question for the audience too. We were sitting there and we were both like, this reminds us of something. And we each came up with, I said like, unfortunate events because of the way the kids were talking. And did you ever figure out what it reminded you of?
No.
So if someone knows what we're talking about, and it's like they really thought, like there's something very concrete that it reminds me of, and you too, but it cannot for the life of me think of what it is.
It's very specifically in the moments with Babette and Jack, and when they're just having their own dialogue. And it's just like the way that they're talking, it's theatrical in one sense.
Yeah.
But there's something.
It's like robotic yet organic at the same time. It's very, very weird. And there's something.
It's the over use of dialogue. Because like it takes them forever.
It's like a Vulcan at a party trying to prove they're smart.
Sure.
I don't know.
It's like you really have to see it or read the script to really get it. And also fucking props to Greta and Adam for really like owning this dialogue as well, because it's so much dialogue. It's like, it's almost like, it's not like a sentence to a sentence to a sentence to a sentence like what a natural dialogue is. It's like a monologue to a monologue to a monologue.
Well, I was hoping to see the list of the things he wrote and be like, oh, that's what it is. But
no, that was nothing. Yeah, DeLillo, like his stuff that he wrote.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, a lot of
it's something completely different.
This is his biggest book.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we need to be wrapping up.
So you're 3 out of 5.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree. So we'll give White Noise 2022's White Noise a 3 out of 5. All right. Want to do the connection game?
Yeah. Who do you got?
All right. So we are using Connecting the Stars. It's a website that you can play this game on, and we use it because
it's easy to just. So we don't have to think about actors or actresses. It'll just
do it
choose
for us. How about Christoph Waltz and Elliot Page?
Christoph Waltz to Elliot Page?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Do you think that works?
I can do it.
Yeah?
Yeah, I can easily do it.
Well, it's not supposed to be... Can you already make one?
I know, but...
Okay.
Yes.
You did?
Yeah.
Then no, you can't.
It just clicked.
No. And that doesn't go. No, not those two. I'm not even going to read them.
I can't turn my... I'm just going to be honest. I can't turn my brain off with it.
Robin Wright to Adam Sandler.
Robin Wright is Princess Buttercup, yes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure?
Mm-hmm.
Robin Wright to Adam Sandler. Stop. Okay. So, if you're going to join us next week, or if you want to think of a connections, it is Robin Wright to Adam Sandler.
It's Princess Buttercup to...
Princess Buttercup.
Ooh, Princess Buttercup.
Marriage. Bring us together. Cool. So, yes, that was episode 228 of White Noise. We gave it a 3 out of 5. Please follow, share it with your friends if they like movies or if they like this movie. We are on Instagram and Facebook at TJ's Mixtape. Follow those on all those posts are on Linktree, and we're on Spotify, Apple, YouTube. We do have video if you're interested in that. I don't get it. I know people do.
Some people like to watch our faces.
Some people like to watch podcasts.
I do.
Yeah, I know. I don't. I don't get it. It's a radio show. Woo! Tommy and the douche.
Hey, man! Look at me fill up this thing.
So yeah,
take it literal.
I completely forgot what a douche was for a second. What do you take it literal? Oh,
it's actually one of my favorite things of Sausage Party is that.
Oh, I was talking about Parks and Rec.
I know, but
the douche.
Yeah, it's the bad guy. Is a douche.
I'll never sit through that ever. Anyways, so yes, subscribe, please follow us, and let us know what you think. I guess I don't know. I kind of did my thing, got derailed by the douche comment. Now I don't know how to end it. This is Tommy.
This is Jacob.
This is Tommy and Jacob's Mixtape. Bye bye.